Muhammad Ali in Zaire, Africa. You said in your book it featured more unexplained happenings than any event in your life. And I know you've rehashed, this on multiple times before, but the water that you were given by your trainer shortly before you got into the ring, explain what you think was done to it.
I got into the ring, and generally I dry out, go without water. And just before a boxing match, my trainer would always say, all right, ready for your first sip of water? And he'd give me a nice drink of water. And that's how we'd need, you ready for another? And a piece of ice. We'd always done this. This night in Africa, the same water, same ceremony, here's your drink of water. I say, hey, this water tastes like medicine. And my trainer, Dick Sadler, said, same water as always. And I didn't want to make him feel bad. So I took another drink. I said, man, this water has medicine in it. Same water as always. He said, look, I'm taking a drink. And I took an ice, and that was different. The water was different that night.
Explain what happened during the ref's count when you were down that made you believe it was suspect.
The fight, and I lost the boxing match to Muhammad Ali. I got beat genuinely. I've got photographs where I'm on the canvas, the referee counting over me. I lost that boxing match. I had a lot of complaints after that boxing match. The count, the ropes were too loose. The referee counted too fast. And I had something in my water. I have lots of excuses, but it still doesn't bring it back and make it a win. I've learned to live with that.
Right.
Those are the words of George Foreman. And George Foreman recently, did this interview. This was a few years ago, but he recently reached out to Deontay Wilder. And he said, I was Deontay Wilder back then. And he was, 40 wins, no losses, 35 by KO, the beast, the monster, the guy that dismantled Joe Frazier, okay? And everyone thought that he was just going to walk right through the old, the aging, the out of the prime Muhammad Ali, so people thought, and it didn't happen the way people thought it was. Ali, he was fast, he was older, he doesn't have the knockout power like George Foreman. It's a lot of factors that is against him. Okay. Well, those statistics didn't add up. Okay. And like George Foreman explained, he was like, look, everything is wrong about this. Everything wasn't right about it. I mean, it was more than that than he mentioned, because I remember everything quite well because I researched that to the T. He thought he was voodooed. He thought, you know what I'm saying? He thought that, Ali Boombaye, Ali kill him, so these things like that were, it was a factor where he just had every excuse and everything was wrong about that night. But the only thing that really made him with the excuses was the fact that he lost. Okay. And he lost that bout. And and the thing is, it took him a while to get back. And he went into the next fight and he lost by decision. Okay. So it was one of these things where he had to come into grips with, hey, I lost, and and he reaches out to Deontay because he's been there. And the more you make excuses, the more you cover up, the more you look for things that are not really there, the more you're going to find out this is hindering my career. And it took George Foreman years to get over that. So who said it was going to be easy, especially when you're someone known to knocking people out? Okay. So George Foreman thought to himself like, something was wrong with the water. Who does that sound like? Deontay Wilder. I feel voodooed. My dog got sick, right? I feel voodooed. Somebody put a spell on me. Who does that sound like? Deontay Wilder. Remember he said, he put some kind of gypsy magic on me. Remember that? Same shit. Since we're taking one fight and adding both of them together like a saga, cool. That's exactly what happened, right? The trainer, blaming the trainer for doing this, the same trainer that's been with you forever. same shit. Okay, so it's very comparable on these two guys and the way they lost and the way they look for things. Then they start searching for these excuses, but they in their mind they're called reasons because they can't get over the fact that they lost. Because guess what? It's the first one. It's that first loss. And what's sadly about Wilder, if he doesn't come to grasp with those type of things, like George Foreman has mentioned, he's gonna be distracted. I feel it's gonna be a distraction, and he will never ever worry. He will worry more about Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury is the type of dude that he's never lost. Okay, he's never lost. He's a guy that I feel that does he have a shady past? I mean, a lot of these fighters have, but that night was that night. Okay, so, and then the problem is nothing, and all the people that are trying to ride with that, with Wilder, about, everything that happened that night, they're making it hard for him to improve. Because if you agree with what a fighter says, you don't look at what really happened inside the ring. You want to look at, oh, well, he cheated, so it don't matter what happened inside the ring. It does matter. Because if you can't prove that he cheated, all we have to do is look at the fight. If we look at the fight at hand, Wilder looked for one punch. Wilder, the jab, the double jab in the right hand was too, predictable. Okay. And see, Tyson Fury knew, I've been in there with this guy before. There's no left hook coming behind the right hand. He's going to throw the right hand, expecting it to land because he's so good at landing the right hand that I got him. That's exactly what happened. Dodge the right hand, take it to him. Put him on his back foot. He has no power. Clinch him up, wrap him up, whatever you need to do when you get on the inside if you miss the shots. Hell, even if he land, still wrap him up. Put your weight on him. Then Deontay had added weight on him. He had 10 extra pounds, and those are factors, and he can't deal with it because he's never been in that type of situation. That's it. But George Foreman could be someone that could motivate him and could get him back to reality. Because George Foreman's been there. He's been that undefeated fighter that was upset. That was an upset. People didn't expect. People thought that Fury would win, but they thought he would win on just boxing like he did the first time. Then it ended up being a draw because he was constantly trying to stay away from a puncher. Okay. And eventually Deontay caught him twice. But in this fight, he took it to Deontay Wilder. Okay. So nobody thought that he was going to beat him the way that he beat him. Okay. But anyway, George Foreman, I think he should be that mentor. I think that's probably why he wanted to be the mentor for Deontay Wilder, because he knows. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this particular interview and George Foreman and the comparison with Deontay Wilder. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.